Yes, good evening, everyone. My voice is audible. I'm audible.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, good evening. Audible.
Okay, I'll start the session now. So, as far I know, I think, yes, Amar and Sharath, both of you were there yesterday. I think Ramchand and the Ivo, you are, I think, new, yes? So, yesterday I just started the course, or you can say the session. First session was yesterday. So, in which I just went through the what are the topics which we are going to cover in this course, and why the Linux is being preferred in most of the companies as the server because of its security. So what is the extra feature we have in Linux? So Linux is an open source operating system. So yesterday I told you open source means the source code of the Linux kernel, which is the main part of the Linux OS, is designed by Linus Torvald. So whatever coding he has written to design this Linux kernel, he put it over the internet, which anybody can access and modify. That's why Linux is called open source operating system. So you want me to continue with the session, or you want me to revise yesterday's topic? Ramchand and Ivo.
No, you can go ahead and continue.
Okay. You can go through my recordings.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Okay, fine. So the Linux OS is divided into two levels. First level is our shell. So whenever we want to apply the command, we need to open the terminal. So once we open the terminal, what happens? We are using the default shell. So what is the default shell we are using in Linux? Bin bash. So what it will do, yesterday I just told you. So basically it will do three things. First, it will check the command is correct or not. If it is correct, then that command is given by which user, and that user have the privilege or not. If it is having that privilege, immediately what it will do, it will convert that command from the high levels to binary, because the system computer don't understand high level language, it understand binary. Then it will send to the kernel, which is the main part of the Linux OS. So this kernel, which is called the core or brain of the Linux OS, now it will send that task, which is in binary form, to the CPU, that is the machine. Now it will do the task. So once the task is done, the output will be in binary. So kernel will send that output to the shell, which will convert that from the binary to the high level and displays on the monitor. So this is what exactly happens when we are using the Linux OS in the background. So then I told you this Linux course is a basic foundation course for doing the higher courses. Like without this Linux OS, you cannot go for the courses like AWS, DevOps, Oracle Admin, Hadoop, SAP. Okay. And the shell scripting without Linux, you cannot do. So yesterday, this was the things we discussed. Today, another important session in which we are going to discuss the structure of the Linux OS. So whenever we want to work on any operating system, we should be aware about the where exactly what data will be stored. So let me, like most of the people might be aware about the Windows. So I'll start with the Windows structure, then we'll go to the Linux structure. Then you can able to compare it also. So let me assume that I have purchased, suppose a desktop or a laptop today. And like most of the people uses, I also install or in my laptop, let's assume Windows OS is there. Windows operating system is installed. So if operating system is not installed, can we use the system? No, yesterday we discussed, because the user understand the high level language and the computer understand low level, that is binary, 0 and 1s. So we need one interface between the machine and the user, that is operating system. So Operating system is the interface between the user and the machine, which consists of collection of program. This program we use like a interface or mediator between the machine and the user. Now, once I install the Windows operating system, so this Windows operating system, when I install, where it will get stored? Where it will get stored? On my storage device. What is my storage device? Where it will get installed? On my C drive. Yes. So when we install the Windows OS, where it will get installed? On the C drive. Now this C drive is a collection of folders. C drive is a collection of folders. So one of the folder is Windows folder.
Right, maybe good to one.
One of the folder is Windows folder. So this Windows folder contain the information related with the Windows operating system like System32, drivers, log files, temporary files. So this information will be stored where? In the Windows folder. So we have another separate folder under the C drive with the name called program files, which contain all installed applications. So whenever we install any application in Windows, where it will be stored? All installed application or software. Where it will be stored in Windows? In program files. Now, as a user, if I log in, sorry. So as a user, if I log in as the administrator user and creates the files and folder, where it will be stored? So there is a folder called users. Under the user folder, you will have a folder with name administrator. So whenever as an administrator, when I create any files and folder, where it will be stored? The administrator data will be stored in administrator folder. So here the administrator folder contain administrator created files and directory. I can say administrator data. It is a second session. It is a second session. Yesterday it was the first session where I went through the what are the topics you are going to. Yes, it is still demo till Saturday. On Monday batch will be those people who made the paid will be joining. Okay, you already made the payment. Okay, so you have made the payment. Okay. Okay. So after the demo, if you make the payment, again the sessions will not be starting. It is already a session. You will get the videos. Plus, I'll be sharing you 3 files. In one file, all the practical steps will be there. In 2 files, the theory related things. Okay. Okay. So can I continue? Okay. So if you have made the payment, just wait after the session. I'll give my mail ID. You ping to me. I'll send you the practical step file so that it will be easier for you to do the practical. Okay. So let me continue now. So there is a user. Suppose U1 is created. User U1 is created. So now U1 has logged in and created some files and folder. Where it will be stored? As a U1. Where the U1 data will be stored? In Windows. I'm just started now. I'm explaining about the structure of Windows. After that, I'll proceed with Linux structure. So now U1 data will be stored where? In the U1 folder. So U1 created data will be there in U1 folder. Now same way, if administrator create another user, say suppose users2. So user2 folder will be created in user folder. Actually, it is called users. So from this, what you have to understand, whenever a user is created, for each and every user, under user folder, one folder will be created with the username. So when that particular user login and creates any files and folder, that particular user data will be stored in that particular folder. So example, U1 data will be there in U1 folder. U2 created data will be there in U2 folder. I hope you are following. Are you understanding? Everyone? So this is the structure of Windows operating system. So whenever we install the Windows OS, the Windows OS get installed where? On the C drive, on a single partition, single drive. So what is the advantage of this? It is easy to operate. But what is the disadvantage here? If suppose user 2 unknowingly or knowingly has executed the virus file, because in Windows, the file will have execute permission and there is no security called shell. Yesterday, I told you in Linux, if you have sent to the Linux machine, the file will not have execute permission. If a user want to run, it cannot run. And if a user has the, suppose the privilege or the permission or the execute permission is given and he is trying to execute, will it run? No. Only predefined command which is there in the operating system, that will be allowed by the shell. But in Windows, do you have such security? No. Everything can run here. So if someone sent the virus file, you unknowingly just executed that file. Now the U1 folder got corrupted. So what is the biggest drawback with this setup in Windows? Everything is there on a single drive, single partition. So in this, if one of the OS folder get corrupted, like example U1, so U1 folder belong to user folder. So once one of the user folder get affected, ultimately it affect the users folder complete. So once one of these user folder get affected, this folder belong to where? C drive. Then this will affect the C drive. So once the C drive get affected, what happens? Yes. Once the C drive get affected, what happens? Can you write, anyone? The system, okay, yeah, simply the complete OS will get crashed, the system get crashed. The complete OS get corrupted. So without OS, can we use the system? No. So whatever data is there in the C drive will be gone. So what we have to do? Again, we have to reinstall the OS to use the system. So that's why it is always recommended that when you are using any operating system, especially if you are using base OS as physical OS as Windows, never keep your important data in C drive. Always create a multiple partition. So simply keep your important data in D drive or E drive. Don't keep it in the C drive. Because if your Windows OS get corrupted, all your data in the C drive will be lost. So if you have kept your data in D or E drive, if your OS get corrupted, you can reinstall the new OS. Then whatever data you have kept in the D and E drive will be safe and secure. So always keep your data in Windows, important data in D drive or E drive, not in the C drive. So now the question is, can we install the Windows OS on multiple partition? After installing the OS, we can create partition. I'm not asking that. I'm saying, can we have a separate partition for user folder, separate partition for program file, separate partition for Windows? No, you don't have that feature in Windows, but that we can do on the Linux. That's why Linux is more secure. So structure wise, it is safe and secure, and architecture also. So yesterday we have seen the shell is there, like a security guard there. So it will not run any unknown programs. And the Linux OS can be installed on multiple partition, so that if one of the OS folder in Windows get corrupted, entire OS will get affected. But the Linux OS will be installed on multiple partitions. So what is the benefit of that? In Linux, if one of the OS folder get affected due to any reason, that effect will be restricted to that folder belong to which partition, that only, not entire OS. So this is another important advantage with the Linux. I hope you are understanding. Is it clear the structure of Windows? If it is yes, now we'll proceed to the Windows structure, sorry, Linux structure. Okay, now we will see the Linux structure. So now, first thing you have to remember that whenever we install the Linux OS, where the Linux OS will get installed, any idea, anyone? Now suppose I'm installing the Linux OS. So like Windows OS get installed on C drive. So if I install the Linux OS, where it will get installed? Please be interactive. Whether your answer is right or wrong, don't worry. Just whatever you feel, you write it. Yes, where it will get installed, any idea, anyone? Okay, Ramchand, you have idea, very nice. That is called, you should never say that is a drive. You should say that is a root directory. So first difference, yes, Sharad Babu. First thing you have to remember when we install the Linux OS, where it will get installed on the /. See, this is the structure of the Linux OS. So in Linux, there is no drive letter. Okay. So it will, so when we install the Linux OS, where it will get installed? It will never get installed on any drive letter. In Linux, there is no drive letter. The Linux will get installed where? On the /, which is called root directory. Yes. Just a moment. Okay. I'm audible. Just there was some call. So I just kept my mic in mute position. Okay. So I'm continuing. Sorry. Okay. So now, please remember, whenever we install the Linux OS, where it will get installed? Linux OS get installed where? On /, which is a directory, which is called root directory. So under the root directory, these are all called subdirectories. Like when we install the Windows OS, C drive contain many folders. Do we create manually these folders? No, this get created automatically when we install the Windows OS. Same way, whenever we install the Linux OS, these are called the OS folders. So this many OS folder under the / will be created. So this is the overall structure of the Linux. So when we install the Linux OS, where it will get installed? On the / directory. It is not called drive, remember. It is called directory. So the Windows OS is based on drive letter, whereas the Linux OS is designed on directory concept. So Windows OS get installed on C drive. Linux OS, when we install it, get installed on /, which is called root directory. So / is similar to like C drive, but here it is a directory. The first point is clear because I'm repeating number of times because it is important. Yes. Windows is based on drive letter. Linux is based on directory. Yes. So Windows OS get under Windows OS install on C drive. Linux OS get install on slash directory. So Windows OS C drive contain many folder. The slash directory contain many subfolder. There is main, as for the Linux OS, there is only one main directory, which is called root directory, which is represented as /. And the rest of the directories are called, these rest of the directories are called subdirectories. So when you read, these are the OS subdirectory. These are the Linux OS subdirectory. So how to read this? Now suppose this is the first one. How do you read it? Can anybody just read it or write it? So what is the thing you see here?
Slash bin slash boot.
You should not say that as a bin. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, it should be slash bin. Yes, it is a slash. So it is a subdirectory of slash. Then here, how do you read this now? How do you read it? You can simply write it or read it. This one, my cursor, I think you can. Yes, you should.
Slash root.
Yes,
Slash root.
slash root. This is a slash root. You should never say this as a root. So if you want to understand the Linux structure, you have to be very clear about three things. Then only you can understand the Linux structure. If you understand the Linux structure, then you will get an idea where exactly what data will be stored. If you can't remember all this structure, just 4 or 5 directory, if you understand, you can easily operate or can work on the Linux OS. So three main things you have to remember. Three main things you have to remember. Those three main things are I'm explaining you. After that, I'll explain each and everything under the diagram. So now let's say suppose I have installed on this machine instead of Windows, Linux OS. Linux OS. So this Linux OS will get installed where? On the slash directory. So first of all, you should know this slash is a directory and this slash is called root directory. You should not say this as a root because you have to understand in Linux three things. Root is different, slash is different, slash root is different. So if you understand three things, you can understand, you will get the clarity. You can easily understand the Linux structure. If you are confused about these three things means you will never going to understand the Linux structure. So now you please tell me, root, who is root or what is root or who is root? Tell me.
Root is administrator in Linux.
Huh? Yes.
Root is administrator in Linux.
Yes. So please, everybody should be clear about this. Who gave this answer? I have not seen the name. I think who was said this? Root is a user. Yes. Can I just have your name? Very nice answer.
Sir,
So
I'm
please,
Sharat, sir. Yes.
So please remember root is a user. Which user? Super user. Super user is nothing but administrator. In Windows, we call administrator as administrator. In Linux and Unix, the administrator name is root. So who is root? Root is a user. Which user? Administrator user. Please remember everybody. When we say only root, when we say root, root is a user. Which user? Administrator user. Slash is a directory, main directory of the Linux OS, Linux operating system main directory. So this slash is called, it is a directory. It is a called root directory. So slash / is called root directory, which contain Linux OS. And slash root is what? Slash root is what? Yes, can anybody tell me what is slash root? Root is a user. Slash is a main directory, which is called root directory. Now, what is this slash root? Okay, I got one answer. Yes, just current thing. You say this is a root directory. This is a root directory slash. I'm asking about slash root. Please, everybody, please be like relax. Please never think about if your answer will be wrong. What happens? Nothing. Are you going to get any prizes or any gifts or any money if your answer is right? No. So same way, if your answer is wrong, do you get any punishment? No. Nobody is perfect. I know certain things. You will be knowing certain things. But I cannot say I know everything. And same way, nobody can say, or you cannot say one person knows everything. We are just there to share each other knowledge. That's it. So here slash root is a subdirectory. Very nice. I think Ramchandra has written. Yes. You should never say this as a root directory. You should say this as it is a subdirectory. It is a subdirectory of slash, and the name given to it is called the home directory. Slash root is called the home directory of root user. It is a subdirectory of slash, and it is called the home directory of root user. So I'll try to repeat once again these three things so that you will get a more clarity. Then we'll go to the structure. Once you understand this, remaining things will be very simple. So slash is called root directory. So this root directory contain Linux operating system. So it is similar to C drive in Windows. Are you understanding? So Windows OS will be there in Windows OS will be there in C drive. So similar to that in Linux. So Linux operating system will be present where? In slash, in the form of many subdirectories. So one of the subdirectory is slash root. So slash root is a subdirectory. Slash is a main directory, it is a subdirectory. And it is called the home directory. It is called the home directory of root user. Then who is root? When we say only just root, in Linux, if somebody says root, you have to understand when they are just saying root means they are saying about the user. Which user? Administrator user. When they say root directory, you have to understand they are talking about slash. When they say slash root, then they are talking about the home directory of root user. If you understand these three things, you will understand the structure. So this is the home directory of root user. So don't forget first point, who is root? Whether I'm clear to everybody, who is root? First point should be this, who is root? I'm saying only root. So who is root? Yes, root is a user. Which user? Super user. Or you can call as a administrator. Very nice. Whether the first point is clear to everybody, who is root? Understood, everyone? Everyone understood who is root in Linux? Okay, fine. Then next point we have to understand slash. Slash is called root directory. So whenever we say root directory means you have to remember they are talking about slash. So root directory is represented as forward slash. Or forward slash is called as root directory. What it contain? What the slash contain? Linux operating system in the form of many subdirectories. So slash root is one of the subdirectory. Like that, many subdirectories will be there. We'll discuss one by one everything. So I repeat once again, slash is called root directory which contain the Linux operating system. It is similar to like C drive. So the slash contain Linux OS in the form of many subdirectories. So one of the subdirectory is slash root. So slash root is a subdirectory, and this is called slash root is called the home directory of root user. So why it is called the home directory of root user? Because whenever you have login, whenever you have login as a root user, then by default you'll go to which location? Slash root. That's why it is called the home directory of root user. So when you log in as a root user, then you'll go to which location? Slash root. So slash root contain what? When you log in as a root user and created some files and folder, where it will be stored? So root created data, where it will be stored in Linux? Yes, root created data, where it will be stored? Yes, slash root. Sharat Babu, very nice. So all of you please remember. So when I log in as a root user and creates any files and directory in Linux, where it will be stored? Root user created data, where it will be stored? Slash root. So slash root contain root user created files and directory. So whenever as a root user you log in and created files and directories as a root user, so where it will be stored? In slash root, which is similar to like in C drive in Windows, where it will be stored? Administrator data in C drive users administrator folder, because in Windows the administrator name is administrator. So administrator created data will be stored in administrator folder under the C drive users folder. Whereas in Linux, the administrator name is root. So root created data will be stored where? In slash root. Is it clear? These 3 points are clear? Then you can understand the remaining things quite easily. Okay, nice. So if you understood this, I'll proceed to the structure now. So I repeat, whenever we install the Linux OS, where it will get installed? On the slash, which is called root directory. So this root directory contain these many subdirectories. These many subdirectories will be created in Linux. These are the Linux OS created. This is the Linux OS contain subdirectories. So whenever we install Linux OS, so this many subdirectories will be created under the slash. So each and every subdirectory contains some specific information. Like first is slash contain Linux OS in the form of these many subdirectories. So one of the subdirectories is what? Slash bin. Another subdirectory is slash proc, slash boot, slash root, slash dev. So when you are reading the subdirectories of the OS, you have to compulsory say slash before the name. So this is slash root. You cannot say this as a root. Root is a user. This is a subdirectory. So slash root is a subdirectory which contain root user created files and directory. When we say only root, means we are talking about administrator user. When we say slash root, means it is a subdirectory of slash, which is called home directory of root user. So whether I'm clear, can we discuss each and every directory in detail now? Shall we discuss each and everything in detail now? Okay, fine. So now see here. So this is the file I'll be sharing you once you make the payment. Theory, practical, everything I'll put it so that you don't have to write anything. So here, this is called file system structure. So file system shows where exactly what data will be stored. Okay, so this is the structure. So once you understand the structure, you will be knowing where exactly what data will be stored. So in Linux, there is no drive letter. Here, it is a drive letter will not be there. Everything is based on the directory concept. So in Windows, the directory is called folder. In Linux, we call folder as a directory, one and same. Now, whenever we install the Linux OS, where it will get installed on the slash. So before that, you have to remember who is root. In Linux, the administrator name is root. Root is a user. Which user? Root is a user. So who is a root? Root is a user. Which user? Administrator user. You can call this as a super user or administrator user. So whenever I repeat once again, whenever we say only root, we are talking about in Linux about the user. Which user? Administrator user. Now let us come to the, so when we install the Linux OS, where the Linux OS will get installed? The Linux OS will get installed on the slash, // which is called root directory, because it contains Linux operating system, similar to like C drive in Windows. And all the other directories are under the slash. So that's why they are called subdirectories. So all other directories are derived, are present under the root directory. Root directory means slash, remember. Root directory means // Now, this root directory contains many subdirectories. So one of the subdirectories /root. So /root is called the home directory of root user. So whenever as a root user, if I log in and creates any files and directory, where it will be stored? Root created data will be stored where? In /root. In Windows, it will be stored in C drive users administrator. In Linux, root data will be stored in /root. So once again, here I'm reminding root is a user. Which user? Administrator user. /root is a subdirectory, which is called, it is a subdirectory, and it is called the home directory of root user. So what it contains? Root created. So whenever we log in as a root and creates any files and directory, root created files and directory in Linux by default stores where? Where it will be stored? Root created data. Yes, root created data will be stored where? In /root. Very nice, Sharat. Everyone is understanding? Yes, everyone is understanding. So if you are clear with this thing, root, slash, and /root, the rest of the things are very simple. Now we'll go to the next subdirectory is /home. So /home is called the home directory of all other user except root. Except root, all other user home directory are, except root, all other user home directory is /home. Yes. Yes, you have any question? Just currency. Okay, fine. So this is just you note down my another ID. So I'm just writing on the chat box. So you just ping to me. I'll send you the required file. Okay, you just ping to me. Oh, okay. If you want to leave, you can leave it. And tomorrow is Saturday. Shall we have a session Saturday? Because normally I'll take the session. This mail ID, I'm saying. You just ping to me on my mail ID this. Yes, I'm asking you. Tomorrow is Saturday, so shall we have a session? If all of you are agreeing and you will be joining, means tomorrow also I'll take the session. Monday onwards, already 3 people, 4 people have made the payment, they will be joining. So those who made the payment only will be joining on Monday. New link will be created. And you will be receiving the recordings every day. So if you are willing, if one student join means I can't say. Others also you will be willing to log in tomorrow so that I'll complete tomorrow the installation. Okay. Okay, you have already made the payment, no? Okay, join it. Sharath, and just a minute. Who else is there? Okay, Amar. Okay, so if everybody or majority of you will be joining means I'll take the session. Tomorrow I'll show you installation. Yes, Ramchand, you will be joining. And our friend. Okay, I'll write it once more. See here. I've written here my mail ID. This is my mail ID. Can you see? Otherwise, I'll just copy and paste it once more. I think, okay, I have, everyone was not selected, sorry. Now you can see, I think. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, our friend, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, sorry. Igor or Igor, you are able to hear me? You will be joining tomorrow? Yes means I'll say the session will be there tomorrow. I have to update to them because some faculties will be not taking the session on Saturday. Everybody has replied except you. I think you are able to hear me. Igor. Okay, so can I continue now? And please remember, tomorrow session will be there. I'll be taking the session. I'll show you the installation. Okay, can I continue? It may take more 10 minutes. Can I continue, everyone? To finish the installation, sorry, finish the structure. Please reply, can I continue? Okay, so /home is the home directory of all users. So suppose U1 has logged in and created the data. In Windows, U1 data will be stored where? C drive users, one folder will be created. Now, suppose you have created a U1 user in Linux. So U1 data will be stored where? In /home. Same like Windows, whenever a user is created with whatever name, in /home, in Windows, the user folder will be created in users. In Linux, except root, all other user folder will be created where? So suppose if I create a user with U1 name, so in the /home, one folder will be created with U1 name. So if I log in as a U1 and create some files and folder, where it will be stored in Linux, /home/U1 folder contain U1 data. Now, if I log in as a U2 and created the files, so U2 data will be stored where? /home/U2. So /home/U2 contain U2 user created data. Are you following? So if U1 creates the data, so the root user data will be there in /root, but for rest of the user /home. So if you create a user U1 folder will be created. If you create the U2 folder will be created in /home. So U1 folder contain U1 data. U2 folder contain U2 data. So if suppose this folder got corrupted, so in Linux, we can create separate partition for important folders. So this will get affected, not the entire OS. So this is the advantage. Linux OS can be installed on multiple partitions. So that I'll show you tomorrow. So let me continue with the structure now. So / contain Linux OS, /root contain root user created files and folder, /home contain all the users information. So /home is the home directory for all users except root. So if U1 creates the data, the U1 data will be stored in /home/U1. If U2 login and creates the data, /home/U2. If U3 is there, so /home/U3. Okay, so next folder is /boot. So /boot is another very important folder. After /, next important folder is /boot. So it is simply called boot directory. So in the Linux, the main part of the Linux OS is Linux kernel. So where the Linux kernel will be present? In /boot directory. So /boot directory contain the main part of the Linux OS, which is called Linux kernel. So where the Linux kernel will be present? Where the Linux kernel will be present? So where the Linux kernel will be present? In /boot directory. So /boot directory contain. So /boot directory contain So /boot directory contain Linux kernel. So /boot directory contain what? Linux kernel. Along with the Linux kernel, it contains bootable files and bootloader, which is called grub. So what is the purpose of /boot directory? It will /boot directory using this grub, which is called grand unified bootloader or simply bootloader. So /boot directory using this bootloader, bootable file and kernel will load the OS from the hard disk to RAM. So this loading of the OS from the hard disk to RAM is called booting process. So after the basic commands, one full session we will be discussing about the booting process, in which we will be discussing in detail how the OS will load it from the grub to the kernel to the bootable file. In booting session, bootable, we have a session called booting process. Complete one day we will be discussing about this. Today you just remember /boot contain bootloader, bootable file and kernel, through which are using these three things, it will do the loading of the OS from the hard disk to RAM. So whenever we install the OS, where it will be stored? On the hard disk. So when we power on the machine, so do you get the immediate login? No. So in the background, what happens? The OS will be loaded from the hard disk to RAM. So who will do this? In Linux, it will be done by the /boot directory with the help of the bootloader, kernel and bootable file. So the complete detail of that we will be discussing in the booting process class. So if the /boot directory get corrupted, you will get black screen. So if the /boot directory get corrupted, you will get the black screen. So suppose if the /boot directory got corrupted, you will get the black screen like this. And this error is called grub error. On the monitor, it will show like this, grub greater than. It means your OS is there on the hard disk, but the OS is not able to load from the hard disk to RAM because this grub directory got corrupted. Or the, sorry, I should say /boot directory. When /boot directory get corrupted, then the OS will not get loaded. So when the Linux operating system, the Linux OS will be not loaded, will not be loaded from the hard disk to the RAM, from the hard disk to RAM. So you will not get the login screen, you will get grub greater than. So this is called grub error. Black screen will be there, grub greater than, it will be written on the monitor. So we cannot get the login screen. So can we log in with any user? No. So this error is called grub error. So this problem will occur when /boot directory got corrupted. So to avoid this type of things happening frequently, what we will do when we install the Linux OS, we create separate partition for /boot because it is very important. So when you are getting this error, what is the solution? You have to make your pen drive bootable and make the pen drive Linux bootable pen drive by using the roof application, Rufus. Make your pen drive bootable with Linux OS, then insert the bootable pen drive of Linux OS to your Linux machine where you install the OS and it is not getting loaded. So after inserting the bootable pen drive of Linux OS, go to the rescue mode, like in Windows safe mode, in Linux rescue mode, then just reinstall the /boot directory. No need of installing the complete OS. Then once the /boot directory is working, it will load the OS from hard disk to RAM. So once it load, you will get the login screen. Then you can use the OS. Oh, sorry, you can use the machine using the OS. Okay. So / contain Linux OS, /root data, /home all users data, /boot contain Linux kernel, bootable file and bootloader, through which it will load the OS. Now /bin is called binary. It contain commands which can be executed or used by any user, or you can say all users. So whatever commands present in bin, which is called binary, /bin, which is called binary, contain the commands which can be used by all users. Then you have a folder with what name? Bin, which is called system binary. It contains the commands. These commands cannot be used by users. So whatever commands present in bin can be used by only one user, that is the root user. So whatever commands present in the /bin cannot be used by any users. Only root can use. So root can use any command present in the bin or bin, but users except root, all users can use only bin, the commands which are present in /bin, but they cannot use the command which are present in bin. Are you understanding? Are you understanding the difference between bin and bin? /bin, I should say, and /bin. Please tell me yes or no. Everyone is understanding. So shall I continue 5 more minutes, or you want me to continue tomorrow? Within 5 minutes, we can complete this. No, tomorrow means tomorrow I'll take. Okay. So next one is what? USR. USR called Unix System Resource. So in Windows, whenever we install the application, where it will be installed in Windows, the application will be installed in program file in Windows. So same way, when we install any application in Linux, application means software. When we install any application or software in Linux, where it will be stored by default? In USR. It is similar to like program file. So USR full form, Unix system resource. So please remember, when we install the Linux OS, where it will be stored in slash. When we install any application or software, it will be stored where? In USR. Then next one is etc. etc is called etc, which contain configuration file. So whenever we install application, that application creates a file. That file is called configuration file. So along with the configuration file, it also has setup files, script files. This configuration file is script file, startup file. These files will be stored where? In the etc. So etc, which is called etc, contain configuration file, startup file, script file, startup script files, and service files. Similar to like Windows registry. Then next folder is /dev, which is called devices. So it contain hardware devices information. So suppose if anybody asks you in Linux machine, check the hard disk size and tell me. So you have to go to the /dev folder. So hardware devices information will be stored in which directory in Linux? In /dev. /usr contain software information. Dev contain hardware devices information. Like your hard disk size, you can check from the /dev. Next folder is /var, which is called variable. It contains variable data such as the log files. So user activities will be created in the form of log files, which will be stored in the var directory. Variable data will be stored. Then lib. Lib is called library, which contains library files. OPT stands for optional. So this is an empty directory which is used to download and install the third-party application. So whatever application we are getting with our Linux OS, they are called inbuilt application. Remember, when we install the inbuilt application, it will be stored in /usr. But some application may not be there with your Linux OS. So we have to download from internet and install it. So that is called third-party application. So when we download and install the third-party application, it will be stored in the OPT directory, which is called optional, which is an empty directory. So OPT, which is an empty directory, contain third-party install application. Inbuilt application, if you install, it will be there in USR. Please remember. Are you understanding, everybody? Are you understanding? Just give me a few minutes, I'll finish. Okay. Then /media, it is used to access the, so in Windows, everything is accessed with drive letter. Suppose in Windows, if I create a new partition, the new partition will be accessed with new drive letter like D drive, E drive. And if I insert the pen drive will get one drive letter. Suppose in my Windows machine, C drive is there only. Now if I put the pen drive, what will be the drive letter? It will show D drive for pen drive. If my Linux machine do have any drive letter? No. So if somebody gives you the pen drive and ask you to connect to the Linux operating system machine and check the pen drive content. So where you have to go? In Windows, everything is accessed through drive letter, like partition, pen drive. In Linux, everything is accessed with the directory. So when you insert the pen drive, so from which directory you have to access the pen drive is a removable storage device. So when you plug in pen drive or DVD or CD, if you want to check the content, in Windows you have to use drive letter. In Linux we have to use the directory. So they have kept which directory to access the external removable or plug and play devices? /media they have kept, which is empty directory. So /media is a directory in Linux which is used to access the removable storage devices like pen drive, CD, DVD. So whenever you connect the removable storage device like pen drive, CD, DVD, you can access that with the help of the media directory. So in Linux, everything is accessed with a drive directory. Sorry, I repeat, in Linux, everything is accessed with a directory. Whereas in Windows, everything is accessed with drive letter. Now, next point, MNT. So slash mnd is also empty directory. It does not contain any data. Slash media, slash mnt, slash opt. These are the three empty directory. So slash media is used to access the removable devices. OPT is contain third-party install application. And mnt is used to access the partition. So when we create any new partition, in Windows, the partition is accessed with a new drive letter. So in Linux, we will access with the directory. So when we install the Linux OS, one default directory is created with the name mnt. So when we create after the OS installation, one new partition, so that we can access with the help of the mnt directory. Or you can create your own directory and access the partition with the directory. So how to create a link between the partition and directory to access the partition, that we will be discussing in detail in disk management. So that will be there for 4 to 5 days. Okay. Just I'm giving you the where exactly what data will be stored, the structure of Linux. Now temp content temporary file. So when we access the partition with directory, in mounted directory, you can find one folder called lost plus found. So this folder will be default created when we link the partition with the directory. So the directory through which we are accessing the partition, that directory is called mounted directory. So in the mounted directory, one folder is created default. We don't have to create this. So this, what is the purpose or use of this lost plus found directory? So whenever a system crashes or suddenly the system got crashed, so whatever file fragment, whatever files fragments are there will be stored in the lost plus found directory. So by using the tool called FSCK, file system check, we can check this lost plus found directory and repair the damaged file with the help of this lost plus found. So this directory will be appearing in each partition. So when the system get crashed, some of the file fragments will be stored in the lost plus found directory. So by using this tool, FSCK, file system checking tool on this lost plus found directory, we can repair the system. So this is about the structure. So just last 1 minute, I'll repeat. Slash contain Linux OS, slash bin contain users command, proc contain proc files, slash boot contain Linux kernel bootable file bootloader through which it will load the OS. Slash root contain root data. Slash dev contain hardware devices information. Slash sbin contain admin commands, which normal users can't use. etc contain configuration file, service startup files, script files. SRV contain service records. Slash home contain all users data. System files will be there in slash syst. Lib contain library file. Temp contain temporary file. Media is used to access removable storage device like pen drive. USR contain lock files. MNT is used to access partition. Where contain lock files. USR contain installed application. Sorry, USR contain installed application. Where contain lock file. OPT third party install application. So this is the overall structure of the Linux. So out of this, if you can't remember all, remember slash boot, slash root, slash sbin, slash bin. These are important, slash home. So whenever we install the Linux OS, these many Linux OS directories will be created under slash. So what is the advantage with that? Tomorrow you can see, for slash we can create one partition. So whichever folders or subdirectories is important, we can create a separate partition while doing the Linux installation. Separate OS partition we can create for this OS subdirectories, which we can't do in Windows. So it will make the Linux OS very secure and stable. So here we'll create one separate folder for slash home. So if user folder get corrupted, maximum it will affect the slash home partition, not the OS, which will be there in the slash root directory. So in Windows, can we do like that? No. In Windows, one of the OS folder get corrupted, entire OS will be affected. But in Linux, if one of the OS folder get corrupted, it will not affect entire OS, because Linux OS can be installed on multiple partition. So depending upon which type of server you are creating, so which subdirectory is important, you can create a separate partition while doing the Linux installation. To this subfolders of the Linux OS, we can create a separate partition while doing the Linux installation. So how to do that we will see tomorrow. Okay, so with this, we have done with today's session. I hope you understood today's session. If anybody have any questions, any doubt, you can ask before I close the session. Yes, any questions, any doubt, anyone?
Yes, I have a question. After taking this course, are we be able to pass the Red Hat certificate?
Yes, I told you on the first day, once you are done with this course, you will be eligible to write RSCSA syllabus. RSCSA, associate. RSCE, some topics are there because this course is designed keeping the industry requirement. So certification, you can do RSCSA. Some extra topics are there which will be required in the real-time environment. So that's what they have done. So this, I told you yesterday on the first class, it is a combination of basic things, RSCSA, and some additional things required for working, so that this course can be done by anybody. So we are going to focus initially on fundamentals. Along with that, RSCSA, then some additional topic. This is how the course is designed.
Okay, thank you.
So can I close the session now? Yes, can I close the session? So please remember, tomorrow I'm taking the session. So please join. So I'm closing the session. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.